Hi, and welcome back to David Pattinson's Accused Friends, Christmas Day edition. I wanted to take a moment to wish you a very happy Christmas and thank everyone for following and watching all the videos I've put together this year. This has been such a tough year for so many of the British people and for our entire country. It's the first year we've ever had in our history where the government has been so blatant in its violation of British civil liberties. I remain firm in the belief that this is a colossal criminal enterprise and criminal offences en masse against the British people. The reason the English Bill of Rights and Magna Carta have no mention of exceptions to civil liberties is because there was never intended to be any exceptions, either for plagues or pandemics or coronaviruses. There are no exceptions to the violation of British civil liberties, which is why it is criminal for the government to entertain any such abuses of our civil liberties, let alone as many as there have been this year. We have seen abuses in freedom of association, freedom of religious worship, the right to the presumption of innocence until proven guilty, the right to be judged by a judge and jury at a trial if you are deemed criminal or deemed to have any kind of criminal participation or criminal background. We have also seen more recently violations in the covenants of my body, my choice, and doctor-patient confidentiality. So there's been a whole litany of criminal abuses by the government this year. I think it's totally right that I called for the citizens' prosecution. As many of you know, Simon Dolan has been leading that charge and has come up against courts and judges that couldn't be less interested in abuses of our civil liberties. And it kind of, I think it's incumbent upon all of us to speak out against this and to have judges that represent British values, that interpret the law properly rather than ignore the law when it is politically inconvenient. I also want to mention a couple of other things. We had some good news at the start of December where Rishi said he was cutting the budget for foreign aid. And I've been a massive outspoken person against foreign aid because it's giving away British money to foreign countries who have not earned it when we have increasing amounts of debt. And I mean, it's a shame that the saving in foreign aid, which is 10 billion, is massively wiped out by the 2 trillion in new debt that we've created. My purpose for calling for a reduction in foreign aid was to save us money. But of course, if we're increasing so much debt over here, then the saving in foreign aid is negligible. And it was interesting to see all these former prime ministers coming out against the cuts in foreign aid because this is how they make their money. They circumvent British laws against corruption because they pick up money through a pass-through for a foreign country. If British government donates money to somewhere like Rwanda or Sudan, a former prime minister can show up in the country, say, I helped you get this foreign aid, now what are you going to do for me? And they say, well, let's invite you here for a speech, we'll pay you £1 million. Let's look after your family, we'll put you up in a luxury hotel, let's create lots of opportunities for donations to your foundation. So it is a way for the political classes to rob British taxpayers and enrich themselves, and that's the whole purpose of the foreign aid racket. Similarly, global warming, I think a good thing about this economic crisis that we're going into is that there'll be less resources to invest in global warming, and there will be less time to talk about global warming, not only because it's a total racket, but because we do not have the time and money and luxury of largesse anymore. The whole fraud of global warming is that why are we as the British people, 1% of the world's population, leading the charge against global warming? Why do we not let China, India, and the United States deal with it? We can get all the benefit, they can get all the cost, and we don't have to spend as much time talking about it, thinking about it, fundraising about it. It's just a bunch of total fraud. The royal family are all over global warming. And of course, it's one of these unsolvable problems. Global warming's been around for 30 years. The problem gets bigger, the solutions get smaller, and the time wasted by government dealing with the problem, it gets greater and greater. Why don't we just give up on all this nonsense and let other countries waste their time dealing with it? I think 2020 has also taught us about the art of the unsolvable problem with the health crisis. Government have been determined to exaggerate the crisis, divert more time and attention to the crisis, create more jobs for the bureaucracy, save the bureaucracy in the case of the NHS. And, it is less work for them, more money for them, while British people in small business, the self-employed, in private enterprise have seen their wealth be eviscerated, see their savings be eviscerated, and see their employment prospects be totally eviscerated, all with a manufactured crisis that's been more and more exaggerated each time to benefit government and to hurt the British people. I want to end on a couple of small points. I note that Wetherspoons Brewery, they have a big chain of pubs across the country, are really speaking out against the lockdown, and they have these little leaflets and stuff in their bars. I don't know how many of the pubs are open right now, but hopefully they'll open back up in the new year. And I really want you to reach out to your local Wetherspoons and get them to put the English Bill of Rights up in the bar. I've commented about how all these bars across Britain have the big Sky Sports banner in them, and as much as everyone loves Sky Sports, why are the English Bill of Rights less important or not as important as Sky Sports? Let's get the English Bill of Rights up in every bar so that every pub goer can read about them and learn about them. This crisis has really opened my eyes to the fact that the British people are not as informed and educated on our Bill of Rights as they should be and as they need to be. They're not as able to articulate them as they should be and enforce them. You speak to any member of Parliament, they wouldn't know any of the Bill of Rights if you ask them. Whereas, we the people need to be very informed about them so we can highlight abuses of them as and when they occur, as opposed to months and months later, they having been violated by the government. So I want to thank everyone again for all your support and for watching these videos. I plan to do more of these as we go forward, and hope for a better 2021. I mean, the only way we're going to end these cycle of lockdowns is for us, we the people, to rise up. I've been speaking out against them. I know a lot of you have been doing things in your own way, whether it's attending protests or spreading the word around your community. We need to keep the pressure on. We need to bring the government to heel. We need to prosecute the criminals in government, and we need to make sure our civil liberties are fully restored and respected. So have a great Christmas, Happy New Year, and thanks very much.